We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling Show, episode 303. I'm your man behind the microphone, Scholar Jeff. Elsewhere on the screen joining us is the current reigning, defending, undisputed Scholars of Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion, Scholar Brian. Scholar Brian, what's up tonight, sir?
What is up is this might be the most predictable pay-per-view I have ever encountered. And I've encountered some predictable fucking pay-per-views, man. So I'm sorry, this might be a boring prediction show. Just putting it out there right now. And still have not decided whether this pay-per-view is worth it or not to defend. To actually put that defending championship title card to the test.
Well, hey, I am always hesitant to say if there's going to be an easy to call title shot or prediction card or whatever we've got, because there's always going to be a surprise around the corner. But what is predictable? What is predictable? What is always consistent is our current reigning and defending Scholars of Wrestling Party Champion, the one and only Scholar Tarek. Scholar Tarek, what's up tonight, sir?
The horror. The horror. The horror.
Show.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I didn't bring some Mountain Dew with me, so I can't go to the extreme with my horrorness. Instead, I just
so extreme it's scary.
They're gonna be bulging eyeballs, man. That's all I need to know.
And bringing us a nice little dose of sanity with a very sensible long sleeve shirt, the one and only Scholar Charlie. Scholar Charlie, what's up tonight, sir?
PG horror shows, man. It's not the same.
Yeah, I can we just get this out of the way? What, other than a couple of the stipulations, where in the world did this subtext, the horror show? Like, what? Why?
New look, so they wanted a new tagline to go along with it. But my beef is they're using Jeff Hardy's colors and he's booted off the show.
Yeah, I don't. Can we talk about that too while we're at it? Like, why on earth did they take that off the show?
They got smart. And so all the backlash that was going on with the angles, so they figured they'd kill it off on SmackDown instead of a pay-per-view. I mean, if it was actually still like pay-per-view, like if you were spending $50 on this,
who spends $50 anymore?
I don't spend money anymore. I just photosynthesize.
Go back in time. Go back in time. Okay, go back in time. There's no Hooters. There's none of that. You're buying it on pay-per-view. Okay, and you see a bar fight between Sheamus with everything else that they've got on this card, and you see a bar fight between an alcoholic who hasn't had his court date in real life yet, and an Irishman who could probably beat the shit out of him in real said bar fight. Okay. Would you buy that?
Yes.
Probably.
I have to.
Because let's put it this way.
We're doing this.
We all were purchasing pay-per-views throughout the In Your House phase. And there were some shitty In Your House cards.
Fair enough. Yeah, I was actually rewatching one of the In Your Houses. I was actually rewatching the Mankind HBK one.
Nice.
The entire I know that match is great, but then the rest of the card, like there were some really oddball matches on there. I totally forgot, like Jim Cornette versus a guy who trained Shawn Michaels. Like, really?
Jose Lothario had a match?
Jose Lothario had a match with Jim Cornette. I was like, okay.
Yeah, not to mention, we used to spend that money on pay-per-views that ended up being like 2 hours and change. Like, you go back and look at the runtime of some of those in your houses, and it was like an episode of Raw.
I want to go back to those days. Jesus.
Oh, man, we have 10-hour WrestleManias now.
Yeah, and I need to take a nap halfway through.
Go take your nap, old man. Well, anyway, we're too old to get extreme these days, so that's why we're leaving it to the recipients of the horror show at Extreme Rules. We're just here for the predictions and maybe the title defenses. Maybe.
Will Charlie get that opportunity to get that one-on-one with Scholar Brian?
Clawing at it.
Shut up.
That's it. All right, so let's not dilly-dally anymore. Let's just dive right into it. This is the horror show at Extreme Rules, the prediction show, the merchandising. Let's kick things off with a tag team match for SmackDown tag titles. We've got the New Day versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro in what appears to be a tables match.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go. Let's switch up the order for a minute. Let's go with Charlie. Take us.
I wanted to fill the room on this one.
Okay, I was just gonna be like, okay, let's do something nice. Let's do something different. Charlie, you can go first. And you're like, damn it.
This is the one match I wanted to fill the room on, and boom.
And now you just feel yourself on it.
Let's go with our left field prediction then and say new tag champs.
Shinsuke Cesaro?
Yep.
Okay, in that case, and now because we're going in reverse order today, next up we'll go with the champ, Brian. Shinsuke Cesaro or New Day?
Have they said whether this is pre-show or not?
They didn't.
They did not.
You know, I just don't see the New Day losing it before SummerSlam. I think that they have the New Day. I think they have the New Day retain. It's hard though because it's a tables match.
Something's hard, all right.
But I think that the New Day has more of the offense that is suited for putting people through tables. So I just don't feel like and Shinsuke and Cesaro have been getting a surprising amount. Like they're going into this hot. So it's
baby.
And not in a horny Tariq way. That's it. So I think the New Day retains because they're going to go into the SummerSlam as champs.
Yeah, this one's kind of tough for me to call. Brian, I see what you're saying, but at the same time, I've got a weird feeling about Shinsuke and Cesaro. That being said, for this one, I'm going to go with Shinsuke and Cesaro.
I will say that this is the one unpredictable. This is the one that's hardest of the card to predict. I will say that.
Well, given that,
Brian.
Well, given that it's speaking of hard and unpredictable, who do you got?
Oh yeah, this is one match that because it's a tables match, New Day don't have to be pinned on this one to really take the loss. So I'm going with my penis on this one. I'm going with Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura.
I can't.
It's not that when it comes to actually predicting this, it wasn't the hardest, but yes, there is something that is off camera that is definitely hard right now. We're talking about Cesaro.
All right. just for the record, I don't want to hear any more complaints whenever a Lacey Evans match comes up after this at all.
How long have I been
Sure.
going all man hard on Cesaro? And now you're talking about Lace, and now you're throwing
There's-
Since
Lacey
the
Evans. Like,
beginning of time, since the beginning of time, he's needed a towel every time Cesaro comes on TV. That's
but there's a big difference between implications and then just going into the microphone, penis, 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 penis.
I believe what he's
Cesaro.
penis on this one, but
Anyway, that is a battle for another time.
Love of my life. I love him.
Moving on.
My forever man crush.
Moving on to another championship match. We've got Apollo Crews versus MVP for the United States Championship. Brian, let's go to you. What do you got?
Apollo to retain because MVP is a manager.
What was with that delivery?
And that's all I need to say about that. MVP, if it was Bobby Lashley, then we'd be talking. But MVP is a manager and should not be holding any title ever. So Apollo Crews to retain to get murdered by Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam.
Yeah, and all joking aside, this one's pretty cut and dry by my standards. This is just another step in the feud that's just going to keep on going on. Part of me wants to believe that there's an outside chance that MVP could actually win this, and that could be the leverage that gets Apollo Crews to actually join his squad. But I think the chance exists, but I just don't think it's likely, and not confident enough to put that as my prediction. Next pick is going to Tarek. Tarek, who do you got for Apollo Crews versus MVP?
I am also going to go with Apollo Crews with the brand new United States Championship. And yeah, it's all just set up for the inevitable Apollo versus Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam. And when it comes to joining MVP's group, I see Cedric Alexander because that's what they're hit. Maybe even Ricochet. Maybe Cedric Alexander is kind of the little the tease, like, oh, you think he's going to sign him up? But no, we're getting Ricochet turning heel and joining up with MVP's.
The group needs a tag team. The group needs a tag team, and Ricochet and Cedric Alexander a tag team.
Mm-hmm.
So
I can't argue with that. All right, next up, and finally, Charlie, your pick. Who do you got? Going 4-4?
board. MVP's been running around with the new title, claiming it's his. Whenever that happens, it goes south. So I'm just gonna stick with them with Apollo Crews to retain.
All right.
Looking forward to this being the final time we see that ugly United States title design.
The new one?
No, the old one. I hate the.
Okay.
I actually really like the new one.
Yeah, I never thought I would have liked the United States title more than the Intercontinental title, but here we are.
All right, next match we've got for the Raw Women's Championship, Asuka versus Sasha Banks. For this one, I'm going to go. This one's pretty easy for me. I'm going, as much as I want to see Sasha Banks do things on things, I'm going to. What are you talking about? I'm talking about title matches, baby.
I don't know. It sounded off.
A lot. Then you have to spend enough time around me. A lot of things I say sound off. Asuka for the win. She's going to hang on to it. I expect way more shenanigans, especially since we're on the eve of SummerSlam. Asuka for the win. Tarek, who do you got for this one? Asuka versus Sasha Banks.
I'm going with Asuka on this one. As much as I would love to see Sasha Banks be Sasha Two Belts, they're still leaning more towards the inevitable Bayley versus Sasha, and this is just going to be another thorn in the bush for that inevitable match.
Charlie, who do you got? Asuka versus Sasha Banks.
I am siding with you guys. Asuka's gonna win. Yeah, Bailey and Sasha are the best thing going right now, but they have to face off at SummerSlam. They already used it going into this event when Sasha picked, so it has to go down at SummerSlam now.
And Brian, are we going 4-for-4? Asuka versus Sasha Banks.
We are going 4-for-4 because the only way that Sasha Banks wins here is if they're trying to unify the titles at SummerSlam, and I don't think that's the way to go about this. I think there's going to be shenanigans. I think that Bailey's going to accidentally cost Sasha Banks. This will be the later match. Bailey's title defense will be before that. And this will go into, I'll go into what I think about that one when we go there. But Bailey's going to, as she's been recently, she's going to be the screw up. And she's going to screw up Sasha Banks' chance to get the title, which is going to begin the downfall of that relationship, so that we can get Bailey versus Sasha Banks for the SmackDown title at SummerSlam. But in order for that to happen, Bailey costs Sasha Banks the title shot against Asuka. Asuka wins 4-for-4.
Okay, Charlie, do we want to tag you in for a quick comment before we move on?
Yes, sir. Can we have a Scholars Quick Talk on something?
I don't know, Charlie. Can we?
Who do you guys see Sasha and Bailey losing the tag title between now and SummerSlam if they're going to go down against each other?
That's a very good question.
The only front runner.
Overlooked thing here.
The only front runner I've got in mind right now is the Kabuki Warriors, if only to give Kairi Sane a bit of a farewell title reign before she leaves. That nothing else.
And then you've always got the fallback of because Nikki Cross is still in the feud with Bailey at the moment. You still have the fallback of Bliss and Cross.
And you got the newly reformed tag team of Bianca Belair and Ruby Riott. No, that's not happening.
I'll be honest with you. I was really excited about that. I wanted Bianca and Ruby to be a thing, but now there's all these reports coming out that saying that she was only a stand-in until they're waiting for Liv Morgan to come back. Like, come on, you got a good you got a good thing happening in Bianca Belair. Use her. But
I want the Iconics.
The Iconics are always an option, but I feel like they need a little bit more build before you can really pull the trigger.
Off your face, Tarek.
How about actually giving it to a tag team who can actually, put on good stuff? Lamest tag team champions ever.
I like cartoons. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, I'm a big cartoons guy, but that is just.
Yeah, and the Iconics is cartoons.
And that's basically it's just like
They're now
they
just
look good, but
They're now just booked. They're just booked to lose.
Well,
Be
that as it may, let's continue on with the part 2 of this conversation with Bailey versus Nikki Cross for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Fool, it's your turn. You're on deck. Tell us what you got. Bailey versus Nikki Cross.
Bailey.
And any extended commentary on that one?
No.
Okay, then. Quickest prediction ever. Charlie.
I don't have anything. I just don't have anything for this match.
Bailey versus I was about to say Bailey versus Sasha Banks. Okay, Bailey. Brian.
Cross, what is there to say? Like, okay.
At least good for Nikki. She's actually getting, a title shot.
Yeah, but it's inevitable that Bayley's winning, and Bayley's on the hottest streak of her career since NXT, so Bayley's going to retain.
Brian, do I even need to say anything at this point?
I'll go a little bit further into it because this is actually part of the story for what I was talking about earlier. This will be the first title match. This will be the first women's title match that they have on the show, and Sasha Banks will actually do her job correctly, and cost Nikki Cross and help Bayley retain her title. So, as usual, Sasha Banks gets the job done where Bayley can't, which is how it's been happening recently in everything they do.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Bayley on this one too, making another 4 for 4. But as you're talking about this, Brian, it strikes me that this seems to be one of those shows that, even though the outcomes might be predictable, the how we get there is going to be the trick. And Charlie, it looks like you're trying to stifle some laughter. What is it?
That's our
You need to look at what's happening at Tarek's little corner over there.
Yeah, with the way my personal screen is right now, Charlie, you're up at like the upper right corner, so my eye naturally drifts to you. So I didn't see Tarek doing the whole Undertaker thing. Oh boy, this is going to get ridiculous fast.
Hey, it's a horror-based show. Why not have my horror-based
this bad card?
There's going to be Firefly Funhouse puppets very soon if this keeps up. Too soon to call. All right, but before we get to all that wild nonsense, let's go for the WWE Championship. We've got Drew McIntyre versus Dolph Ziggler. Charlie, we're back to you. Charlie, who do you got for this one? Drew McIntyre versus Dolph Ziggler.
Drew McIntyre. I have a feeling it is another one, like Dolph Ziggler. Okay, like, no, it's just a dumb challenger for the championship. I'm still psyched to see. Well, did you guys see that it might have leaked that it's going to be a ladder or TLC match or something along those lines?
I heard rumors, but I haven't heard anything definite yet.
No.
Saving that for the show.
Yeah. No, it's another stupid challenger for the World Championship. I have a feeling that both he and Braun are going to lose the titles at SummerSlam. So Drew retains here.
All right, Brian, do you concur, yes or no?
Yes. Basically, Dolph Ziggler is here because they needed someone to fill the time before Randy Orton comes in. So basically, Dolph Ziggler is here because they have that little thing from back 2 years ago. So there is story there that they can use, and they can use Dolph Ziggler and his bump machine abilities to make Drew McIntyre look sparkling and like a complete monster going into his SummerSlam title defense. And that's the plan here. Dolph Ziggler's going to get his ass beat no matter what in whatever match they decide to have, whether it's a ladder match or whatever. So Dolph Ziggler is here to get his ass beat, and I'm here for it. So Drew McIntyre to retain.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to disagree with you with, nor to elaborate on. Hopefully, it's just a good a good stipulation if a new one or a unique one comes at all. But yeah, you're right. This does just come across as a bit of a standby, and I gotta give it to Drew McIntyre. Fool, are you gonna make it 4 for 4?
I am going to make it 4 for 4, but I'm not going to be as hard on this match as some people on this show and some people in the internet wrestling community. I liked Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre back then. I was a big fan of Ziggletire.
Why'd you have to remind me all of Ziggletire?
Because this is the feud this is the match that will end the story that is Ziggletire. Their entire history comes out to this, and this is finally letting the Ziggletire disappear from Drew McIntyre's history, and now he is his own Drew McIntyre. He is the Scottish psychopath. They're gonna put on a good match. I know they're gonna put on a good match. I'm really looking forward to this because I like both guys. And yeah, it is inevitable that he's gonna lose the title to Randy Orton at SummerSlam. But hey, have a very personal feud before that. Yeah, I'm all for it. A feud that actually has history behind it. Yeah, I cheers to that.
All right. All right, next match we've got the infamous eye for an eye match, Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins. Brian, you're up. Who's going to win?
He's got all the
Who
props.
is going to win, and who is going to end up like Scholar Tarek and wear an eye patch for the rest of their days?
I feel bad for the people who have to write the tweets hyping up this match. Someone's got to walk out with only one eye. Someone's got to be missing an eyeball. It's just this is dumb. But here's the deal.
Yeah, but who's gonna win?
Here's the deal.
Who's gonna win the dumb?
There, a babyface cannot win an eye for an eye match where you're actually trying to pull out your other opponent's eyeball. Okay, and the thing that AEW did with Moxley and Santana, okay, that was a match. They weren't trying to rip each other's eyeballs out of their skulls. Okay, so it's like, yeah, that the babyface can win that one, but it's like when you're actually trying to pull someone's eyeball out of their socket. Okay, you're not gonna get me to believe that Rey Mysterio can reach down that far inside of him to actually grab Seth Rollins and pull his eyeball out. Where you can, the heel, that's a heel move. That's a heel move. The heel wins, and Seth Rollins is like weak as fuck. The entire build up for this, so he needs to win. So Seth Rollins.
Apparently Tarek has. I'm sorry, I have to say, you with the eye patch, you look like Dan Crenshaw, and it's absolutely scary. It's also your pick. Oh wait, it's my pick first. So yeah, I'm actually having trouble with this one. Like, part of me wants to believe. Hold on. Here's my logic. Here's what I'm struggling with. On the one hand, Brian, your logic is sound. They're not going to have. Doesn't seem likely that they're going to have a face Rey Mysterio pull out someone's eye. But then again, it's like, I don't know if I feel like Rey Mysterio is in this very odd sort of place in his career right now where he's almost like The Undertaker was, where it just almost seems like he's just going to keep going and going and going and going. Like, if Rey Mysterio loses this, he really should just retire from in-ring competition, become a manager for Dominic, and then just let him do his thing. So I'm not ready. I'm not really sure if they want to pull the trigger on that just like that. Now that I'm thinking about it,
I dare you.
I'm going to go with Seth Rollins
Okay.
because once they pull out Rey Mysterio's eye, then they can book up Dominic Mysterio to come in and make his official in-ring debut at SummerSlam. So Seth Rollins wins. Dan Crenshaw, who do you got?
I'm going to go with Seth Rollins winning this match. As much as I would love to see Seth Rollins with an eye patch and actually look like the comic rendition of the Governor, no, I don't. I just don't see. I just don't see Seth losing this one. Especially, yeah, as Brian said, he's been really the one that's been getting his ass kicked most of this feud, and it's reached that point where it hasn't really reached any point. It's just the simple fact that Mysterio has been wrestling pretty much as a free agent, not under a WWE contract. So I think this is a good way to write him off TV. And the Monday Night Messiah takes the win here.
Charlie, do we have another 4-way?
Once again on this card, we do indeed have another 4-way. Rollins. He's been in this whole feud, like Brian said. He needs to earn that eye. He's gonna. I can't wait for the goofy ass CGI for it though. And Vince is gonna be laughing his ass off backstage. So it's all good.
My favorite's when he's got to be reaching into the mask.
Oh my god, it's gonna be fantastic.
Now, this is definitely
as much as I do. It's gonna be quite a treat.
Oh yeah, they definitely made this a Bruce Pritchard feud. This is a Bruce Pritchard feud written all over it.
Answer your question from before, Jeff. The tagline horror show. It's probably
it's got to be this.
The swamp match.
Oh, I want Seth Rollins to show up on Raw the next day with Rey Mysterio's eye in a jar.
Yes.
That's what I want to see.
That's gonna be.
It's something dumber than Eric Rowan and his spider. Seth just carrying around the eye.
I was like, his twin brother Derek Rowan. Duh.
Bringing back the old memes. You're on fire today, fool.
I can't stop.
Can't stop, won't
But
stop.
I do want. Speaking of memes, I do want to see Seth make that goofy Seth eye face when Mysterio attempts to take his eye out.
Oh, that Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels, Mick Foley, or that WrestleMania face.
No, where Seth has his eyes bugging in different directions.
Oh, I'm actually thinking of it as a meme. Someone took those pictures.
It took me a second.
I'll send it to you, Charlie. It's just like, is that Mick Foley? Is HBK in wrestling gear? Glass shatters?
Oh yeah, it probably is that same phase, but it's definitely the one Jeff was talking about.
Yeah. I'm gonna send that to you right now.
In the meantime, we've got what I hope is the main event, or what will probably be worth the main event spot. We've got Braun Strowman versus Bray Wyatt in a Wyatt Swamp fight, whatever the heck that is. Non-title, then yeah. If it's really non-title, that's all the more reason why I'm going to go with Braun Strowman to win. Although I'm hesitant to even call it a win, as much as Braun Strowman is going to survive this fight, leading up to the big climactic showdown with The Fiend at SummerSlam for the title. But for now, Braun Strowman wins. Tarek, take us home. Who do you got, Braun Strowman or Bray Wyatt in the swamp fight?
I feel like for this to keep this feud really, really going, I think Bray has to win. So I'm looking at this feud as pretty much just a feud's length of what the Firefly Funhouse was, and it's just different stages. like you're going through this different stages of Braun's career, WWE career, and it's just inevitable. He's just going to lose it to the Fiend at SummerSlam. So, but I think also because the title's not on the line, this is just them fighting. I feel like I can't see Braun as like, oh yeah, he could just mow through Firefly Funhouse. That it made sense that Firefly Funhouse Bray lost. It just wouldn't make sense to me for the cult leader Bray to lose.
Well, interesting logic. I can't say you do make a good case, fool. Charlie, your pick. Who do you got? Braun Strowman versus Bray Wyatt swamp fight.
I'm with Tarek on this one, especially since it's a non-title match. I'm going with Bray Wyatt. And I agree. You can't repackage Bray to old, like, swamp leader, cult leader Bray and just have him eat it, you know? I see Bray winning, definitely.
And last but not least, Brian. Who do you got? Bray or Strowman?
I feel like this is going to be Bray Wyatt versus The Fiend versus John Cena all over again, just cult leader style, where it's like I don't even think there's going to be a pin.
Really?
Or anything like that. I just think it's going to be I think it's going to be more like a story is being told. Like Bray Wyatt, like The Fiend and Cena. It's going to be like that. It's going to be a story being told, and then something happens to Braun. Okay, so Braun is going to end up laid out, the loser, kind of like Cena was. Okay, and then the Fiend's going to show up at the end, and that's how you're going to get to the. But yeah, it's basically like I don't understand your point, Jeff, where non-title means that Braun's going to win. I'm like, when it's non-title. When it's non-title.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. Let me just. When it's non-title normally. Okay, that's the impetus for the challenger to win the match. So it would be like, okay, it's non-title. You're gonna have cult leader Bray get so far into like Firefly Funhouse Bray couldn't get into Braun Strowman's mind. We already know that cult leader Bray can and will get into his mind because he already did. So that's the point of this match. He's going to get so far into this. Cult leader Bray softens up Braun Strowman enough so that at SummerSlam, the Fiend can come in and take his title. But cult leader Bray is going to weaken Braun, and Braun, and I don't know if there's going to be a pin. I don't know if there's going to be a submission. It might just end with Braun Strowman laid out. Like, I don't know if there's actually going to be like a winner announced. That kind of deal. But Bray Wyatt comes out on top.
All right. Now, all that being said, I do feel the need to clarify my stance on this. I was not meaning to imply that because the match is non-title that this means that Braun Strowman is going to win. That's not what I'm implying here. What I was implying is that I do not believe my prediction.
So you chose Braun. So in a way, that is your prediction.
No, that's not the logic I was putting down, fool. What I was describing when I said that, okay, it's non-title, my implication was that the title not being on the line was not going to change the result. Like, my plan, or the idea I had in mind of what I think is going to happen here has really not changed. Where obviously you've got the Firefly Funhouse Bray attempting to take the nice option. Nice, don't cut it with Braun no more. Now you're going for the psychological deep dive with resurrecting cult leader Bray. Now you're really getting under his skin. Now you're really getting to Braun Strowman in a way that you didn't before. But Braun Strowman, being the sturdy champion, the resilient champion that he is, can actually stand a chance and survive a swamp fight with cult leader Bray. Now Bray is just going to be like, when SummerSlam comes around, he's going to be like, screw this. I'm going the nuclear option. I'm hitting the Fiend button. I'm breaking the glass. And I'm taking that title back.
Mm.
Yeah,
It just feels like it's. I don't want it to lessen the credibility of the other Brays. At least with Funhouse Bray, there was a reason he played my games with Funhouse Bray. I feel like it would just basically it's like, I don't want to have it to be just the Fiend that constantly wins. I want other faces of Bray to win. And if cult leader Bray loses, it's just what was the point of bringing cult leader Bray in? Why not just have Bray just enjoy the time he has off and just save the Fiend for SummerSlam?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying like I think this is legit story. Like I don't think that there's going to be like a clear cut someone's getting pinned, someone's tapping out. I feel like this is a story where it made sense that Firefly Funhouse Bray got pinned in a regular match because it's a regular match with no extras and whatever. So Braun's gonna be able to pull one over on that guy. But it's like there doesn't have to be a pinfall here. There doesn't need to be a clear-cut winner. Okay, you could just have you could just have the show end with Braun being knocked out and Bray and cult leader Bray just sitting on his rocking chair, just laughing at him and knowing and having Braun know that the Fiend is next. And so it's like, that's where I'm going. I'm like, I don't think there's a pinfall here. I don't think that there's an actual like winner. Okay.
So essentially, Brian is saying that it's going to be the Peter Chicken fight of WWE.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say there's a draw. I'm not gonna say there's a no contest. I'm not gonna say that there's a legit winner. I'm saying that Braun Strowman is laid out. Bray Wyatt is sitting in his rocking chair, just laughing with the Fiend's face in the background as the show turns off. Like no one actually gets hit.
Yeah. Then again, Fool, you bring up a very good point that is sort of what's making me go back and forth on this. You said something about you want all faces of Bray to seem credible in their own right, and that it shouldn't be just the Fiend all the time. That is something I totally agree with you on. But the one thing that sort of throws me in the flux here is I can almost see them wanting to take a similar approach with Braun Strowman, since he's been such a workhorse, especially lately since the whole Rona hit, that they don't want him to look too weak against Bray. Like I feel myself ping-ponging back and forth. Like on the one hand, you don't want it to be just the Fiend show all the time. But on the other hand, like you don't want your Universal Champion to look too weak. And it's like it's not as cut and dry to me. Like
I don't think Braun Strowman looks weak in the scenario that I gave here, because he's not losing. Really, he's just getting knocked out and getting laughed at by cult leader Bray who did that on a regular basis to everybody.
This
And they get and then lost, and so it's like that. That's just normal cult leader Bray behavior. So it's like I don't feel like I don't feel like in my particular scenario, Braun Strowman comes out of that looking weak, like you say.
it's something similar to it going to cult leader Bray. It's something what they had cult leader Bray do in his Firefly Funhouse match with Cena. He'll most likely give Braun some kind of choice that for like rewriting history. Right, you didn't do something you did in the past. This is now you making the right choice. Do something about it. And I just see something similar to that, and it just ends with Braun in the end, all alone, looking around in the woods, and them pulling something similar to the story that Bray Wyatt had in that one video package of him wandering through the woods and seeing a dark figure with the blonde hair, which most people have now been interpreted that is the origins of the Fiend. So maybe they'll do something similar to that, and it just ends with Bray behind, like Braun getting a view. He's seeing the Fiend in the background, and it just ends with cult leader Bray behind him, run, and it's gone, and then Braun disappears. Something similar to that. It's just I see this more as Braun getting the one upper hand on Bray Wyatt, with basically playing fire with the mind games, and now this is the part where Braun is now the strength of Braun is now starting to crumble as he heads more and more closer towards the Fiend.
Yeah, this is one of those matches where there's so many different ways that we can get to so many different places that I think this is why I consider it one of the most intriguing matches on this card. Charlie, I'm noticing there's a whole lot of nodding over there. Any extended thoughts on the swamp fight?
No, that whole I guess I didn't see the part that Tarek was talking about with Bray being in the woods, seeing the blonde-haired thing or whatever. Well, when was that?
That was like what, 4 years ago?
Maybe a little more.
Yeah.
Superstar Ghost Stories, yeah.
I'll send you the video of it.
People are connecting that to the Fiend, though?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Like he describes the Fiend like spot on.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah, I'll send you to the video.
The more... I do think that a match is going to start. I do think that a fight is going to happen. I don't think it's going to be totally like just promo, like shits and giggles like Cena and Bray was. But I agree with Tarek on the point that I think it's going to end up with just somehow leading towards Fiend and Braun finally going at it at SummerSlam. You saw tonight that Braun is psychologically broken going into this match against Bray. He was bugging out before he even entered the ring with Morrison. I think that was a great addition to Braun's character because he never really has much of a personality character. And to see him like mentally broken and unstable is a great addition. You guys opened my eyes to this match being more than like what I personally thought it would be. Just old cult leader Bray taking it to Braun. It probably will have more of an open-ended theatrical finish, but Bray having the upper hand going into SummerSlam.
As long as it doesn't end with them fighting and you just see a battered Braun Strowman slowly walk away towards the sunset and it just shows Bray Wyatt. Like
I just need during the match at some point, cult leader Bray needs to sit down in his rocking chair.
Oh, of course.
Oh,
That's all I
no.
need.
We gotta have the rocking chair.
That's why I was like, just have it end. Like, you don't even have to have him in the woods. Just have Braun Strowman just like broken, just like staring at cult leader Bray in his rocking chair, broken, and just have the you could still have cult leader Bray just goes run, and then the Fiend's face shows up in the background, and then they just.
There's so many ways that they can play it off. Have the Fiend appear. I don't know, but it's gonna have a theatrical finish, I feel.
Scholar Tarek, you look like a horrible realization just came to your mind.
Oh no, they're gonna make this into a commercial for that WWE game where they fight in a swamp.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
no!
Brett
No!
is gonna throw
Someone's
Braun
gonna be
into an
thrown
alligator.
into the mouth of an alligator. No!
Follow the buzzards and buy WWE Battlegrounds.
Alligator.
Yo, 70 wrestler arcade style. I'll take it.
No. Someone's gonna be flying in on a helicopter. No!
Oh.
No!
Daniel Bryan flying the helicopter. Oh, it's a Wyatt too.
Well, I don't know if we're going to be able to top that one. Those are our predictions for the horror show at Extreme Rules. What do you We're turning it over to you, our listening and viewing audience. Who do you think is going to walk away from Extreme Rules, and how many eyes will they have? Will the swamp fight be just a mass? Will it be the match of the night, or will it just be a massive ad for the new video game? We want to hear from you. So drop us a line all across the internet, Facebook comments, YouTube comments, or our personal favorite, Twitter comments. You can follow us at ScholarsOW for all the latest episode uploads. You can also check us out on our personal Twitter accounts. Starting with you, Fool, where can they reach you?
You can reach me crying if the stuff that I just said actually comes to reality at the Avataric.
Scholar Brian, where can they reach you?
You can find me being Gollum and not defending my Scholars Wrestling Heavyweight Championship at Atomic Beanpole.
Don't worry, Charlie. You're going to get your chance at SummerSlam.
No pressure.
With the rest of us.
Charlie, where can they reach you?
Charlene. And I came to a horrible realization, too. You know what initially brought this swamp fight into the picture? The godforsaken devil of WWE 2K20.
Oh, God.
The first place to feature a swamp fight.
Oh, boy. If you want to avoid a swamp fight, you can also follow me at I'm Robbie Rage. Join the conversation. You already know who we are because all the craziness. You know who we are. We're the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're welcome. See you all at the horror show, and for the love of everything holy, stay away from the swamp.
Stay away from the swamp. Stay away from the swamp and hold on to your eyeballs, kids.